All right. Welcome, everybody, to episode 45 of I Just Got My Kids Asleep. I'm looking at sound. Sound is on. Video. You might not have known. We have a new addition. We have a new setup here today. I had to travel to Chicago area, kind of a last minute decision, and I had to go get some new recording equipment because the standard is high, and you can't just because you don't have it doesn't mean you can't have it. So we have it now. Thanks for bearing with us with these technical issues that we might I don't think I'm not gonna put that out there. I think I see it. It's recording. It's recording. Is it better like this or like this? And the video, I've gotten some comments. I'm in my parents' basement. Never lived here, but I did stay in my parents' house. That's the record. This is episode 45. I live in Los Angeles, and I was in Arcata, California on Saturday and Sunday. But I flew out Sunday, and I could have went to Burbank, California, or I could have went to Chicago. And I looked at my little fire map, my map showing the watch of the fire and where the fire was and where the wind was. And you know what it is? And shout out to not a shout out even, like great thanks to the fire department and all the people that have joined. Canada has some firefighters and Mexico has some. And shout out to everybody helping out. Everyone's doing their part. And all the volunteers that are collecting things. It's very, very, very helpful for everybody. We see the need and people are filling the need. There's a viral, I don't know if it's viral, but my parents heard about it, so I feel like it's viral. I don't think that we should replace the word viral with my parents who are never on the internet know this. That's what I feel like, because I showed it to my parents. That's how they found out. But the LA County is bigger than 42 states population wise, and that became like a big thing. Then we heard it on the radio today. So anyway, to cut to the chase here. That's not the name of the podcast or the style, but to let you know, if you are concerned, my house is, I live in an apartment, so it's different than a house in a lot of ways. For fire, I think it's better to live in an apartment because I don't own, and that sucks. I shouldn't even speak lightly of that, but I don't own, and I'm also in a safe area surrounded by a lot of cement and no fires. Is it good to knock on wood for fire? That can't be. But the air quality is hard to tell, I feel like, because of the winds. The winds are high, like. And a friend of mine was talking about air quality, and he told me an app to get. A lot of apps going on for fire. Man, apps are really, really killing it in fire season. I have more apps on my phone now because I have one that's supposed to be the one, and then one that's for air quality. And the air quality one says that the air quality in my apartment, near it, not in it, they can't get in there, right? Can they? How good are these apps? The air quality where my apartment is it's fine. It's yellow and green, which are good colors. Not to get colorist on you, but yellow and green means that caution, go. Like if you're affected a lot by it, yellow might not be good. It's all about particles. Is this why you listen to this? It's all about particles in the air and whether they're harmful to you or not. And if you're sensitive to them, then the yellow could be bad. But anyways, mine was okay. And then my son and his mom, they're in South. Had some friends in the Orange County, and that was pretty good. And I was like, oh, how lucky are we that our air is good in these two places. And then just for the heck of it, I typed in like an area right next to the fire, how the air quality was. And it said that in that moment, it was the same as it was at my house and in Orange County. And I was like, well, what are these apps even telling me, right? It's the same. It says tomorrow it's supposed to be really bad. Where the fire, I'm pretty sure it's probably bad, right? There's a fire where this says this is. So I don't trust the air quality right now. I think it's because the wind is so high, but I'm not a scientist. You knew that. Just just by clicking on this thing. This is not a science situation. But yeah, so who knows who to believe? I as a dad and a parental partner in raising a child, which is the same thing as a dad, I guess. I don't know what to say or to do. I worked, so I left town. I got out on a flight. This is exciting, huh? Wednesday was. I got a text message from my landlord's manager, the manager of the building, that's what it's called, saying that the winds were going to be high, and to make sure to take I feel like I'm really having good posture with this new microphone situation. Do I look is it enjoyable to watch? My face is, I kind of feel like Wilson from Home Improvement. It's like, you'll never see my face now. What do you think about this? I think some people like to see your face. Not that it's a good, but I mean, like, it's a connection, right? That's what you want, because it's a connection. Who knows? The other one I could hold right here, but I don't have it, okay? It's not gone. It's at the apartment. I didn't plan on being here. Anyway, I got a text from my building manager, very nicely. I love the building. And saying that the winds were going to be really high. And I have a balcony. I've mentioned it before. It's pretty cool. And they were like, the winds are going to be super high, 70, 90 miles an hour winds. So make sure you take your stuff off your balcony. And I didn't laugh out loud, but I was like, no. Nothing on my balcony is of real value. Sorry, plant. I love you, plant. You're my favorite. I don't know if you're my favorite plant, but you're my only plant ever. Someone gave me that plant, and I remember my son was little, and my son is getting bigger. He's 6, and now you're bigger, and I appreciate you. And I know there's a lot of water right now, but I know you don't need that water, because I've done research, and you'll be okay. And if you blow away, I'm sorry, but I'm not gonna bring you inside. I live in an apartment in LA. There's more people in the LA County than there is in 42 different, not 42 states combined, but like 42 separate. I think it's 42 separate states. Okay, there's not room for you in my apartment, plant. And yeah, and that's there. And then there's a toy picnic table that I've been trying to convince myself to just get rid of, because everything on my balcony gets super dirty, and so it's just like super dirty, and it wasn't mine. Someone was like getting rid of it, and I was like, yeah, I got. And my son was there, and he's like, I want it, and I was like, all right, and yeah. Anyway, I was like, all right, and they also said like the conditions for fire were bad, and then that night, that's when the fires began, and then the next day, this is maybe Tuesday, and then the next day, so that day, Tuesday, the wind was crazy, and I had to do some stuff, and the fires hadn't started yet. Really, they were a little bit, I guess. They were starting. I don't know if there was ever a little. There wasn't any smoke. I couldn't smell any smoke. And my son and I, it was very windy though. I picked my son up from school, and I had to bring my car to get it fixed because somebody scraped my car. It's okay. It's fixed now. And then to go rent a car with my son, and the wind was blowing really hard. And then we went to the library because I had books that were considered lost, and they're not lost. They were just in a pile. They're not my books. I mean, they're under my car, but they were for Jack. There was a Star Wars book, and I don't think this is really necessary to the story. But then there was 2 others that I can't remember. I thought it was going to be cool to know the names and titles of those books. But we returned them because they were lost. But the library still let me check out a book, even though people should use their libraries. Our library. Whoa! Did I touch the mic? Is this still going? We're still going. Our library in North Hollywood, it has police at it all the time because it's like in a city and people are crazy. But that being said, there's like a lot of cool stuff for kids, and I always feel safe because of the police. It's weird. Whenever I see the blue police light somewhere, I'm like, that's going to lower the rent, that is not because it's the light, it's a light, and that can't save me, right? It can help solve the murder, but it can deter people who are thinking rationally, oh, let's get that guy when he's away from the camera. But you know, it's not. But the police that are there, they're in the library, they're hanging out, and it's just nice. And there's a lot of activities for kids at the library. Like they had a craft set up we went to go check out a book. My son is reading, he picked out this book about unicorns. He's a big unicorn. I don't know how he got into them, but he's not deterred by any sort of like, maybe it's feminine or not. He doesn't know any of it, and I'm not gonna tell him he can't love unicorn. He's a kid, why can't he love a magic creature? I don't think it's, I don't think it's super fair that like girls can like Batman, but he can't like unicorns. So anyway, do girls like Batman? But anyways, he likes unicorns a lot, and that's a separate topic. And they're magical. They're a magical horse. And so we went to go get, they didn't have those books there. But anyways, they had a craft there where you got to make a penguin, and you had to cut it out, and you had to glue it. And then he did a bonus thing where he wrote his name on an orange piece of paper and put it on the back. And I was like, can we hang this on the wall? He's like, no, Dad, because then people won't be able to see that I wrote my name on the back. And I was like, oh, yeah. So he's sitting down. Whenever I go to this library, I just feel like a good parent, because there's an activity that's not screen related and that just takes his time up where I can just sit there. As a parent of a young child, when you have your child and they're not on your phone and they're not playing video games, but they're engaged in something, and maybe you're there, but you don't have to be there, like the whole entertainment, that's just like, that's better than going to Vegas or wherever your vacation spot is. That's like, sit me on a beach, you'll get sand, but sit me there while my kid is doing something that I know is good for him to do by himself, and I don't have to do any, because a lot of being a parent is entertaining and not in like I don't know, a super fun, but it's just like when it's one-on-one, it's like, what's a game we could play, Dad? Oh, how about we just finish this bath? How about we don't have to play games all the time, But then they cry. Anyway, episode 45, I just got my kid to sleep, and we went to did the library thing, did a paper thing, which was flammable, but there weren't really fires yet. And then we got our crepe. There's a great crepe place across the street called Chocoletta. I think is that the name of the bird from Paw Patrol? That's Chocoletta. It's like chocolate, and they have crepes, and I always feel like another good dad, because it's like we're getting dinner done, and we're not even home yet from school, but then he's like, that's not dinner, but still, then he had chocolate-covered strawberry, and he was just up, but I don't know. I feel like strawberries are good. It's like a good trade. Whenever he wants a chocolate-covered strawberry, I feel like it's kind of like a prisoner exchange, He's like, I'll eat strawberries, Dad. Oh, perfect. I want them in chocolate. Ah, you're twisting my arm here. Chocolate's also kind of healthy, but for 6-year-olds, it just hits them. If you watch this podcast or listen to it every week, you'd be like, he needs to say no. I know that I need to. I do say no. I do, like, not always. I just feel like if I put him in a position where there's a thing being offered that's not offered every day, that like denying it from them every time is sort of like creating this desire for it, which isn't bad either. I realized that recently. I'm getting better, everybody. I'm gonna be better, okay? I'll be better. This break, I've had a little break because, okay, I'm gonna be better. Here's how I'm gonna be better. Here's how I realized it. So when this is who's asking? Look at this. Great, Mike. There's a blue part right here. Even if the sound isn't good, we get to look at this awesome blue. This is actually for streaming, and we're not. I guess it's streaming, but it's not live streaming. It's for like people who are playing games. It's like so we get the lights going, But yeah. He had the crepe, and then we went home, and it was really windy, and I didn't know what anybody was going to do. And then we woke up, and there were just fires. It was like the end of the world movie. What was it called? Something about the end. There was just fires, and I couldn't see them or smell them, but I was told they're real, and I saw the videos, and I believe them. You can't really no one's calling this is a lie. You can see the fire. You just don't want to go there. And it's crazy. And everyone that's there right now, my heart and thoughts are with you. But I thought I always think about stuff like that. Like I could go, and then I could be a liability too, and I don't have to be there. So yeah, I dropped my son's school got canceled on Wednesday, and I changed my flight, and then I dropped my son off, who did fall asleep eventually, despite the chocolate, and then I got on a plane and we sat on the runway, and the winds were like 70 to 90 miles an hour. And there was a fire basically the winds were so heavy, they were like, don't drive on the interstate because if you have an SUV or whatever, you get blown over. And I'd rented an SUV, whatever, it's not a big deal. And so I was like, well, I got to get on this flight if I'm going to make my show in Sacramento. And so I got on the plane and I was just like asleep, because that had been 3.5 weeks of just me and Jack all the time, not in school. My parents had stepped in when I went out of town for like a day or so to do shows, but it's a lot. You're not sleeping, you're not thinking. So I'm just sitting on the runway for a good hour, and I don't know what the delay is. I'm asleep, so I don't even know. But then we finally get there, and I'm like, oh, we got delayed. And I think we were just sitting there because they were like, is the wind okay now? What about now? Now? What about now? And the air traffic control is like, no, wait for it. That's what it felt like. Even though I was kind of asleep the whole time, I kind of felt like the pilots were just like, wait, go. The wind is down, and then we got off, and we flew, and then we landed, and that's how the adventure continued. And on the other story of the fire, my son Jack and his mom, they packed up their car with all their favorite things, and from his mom's place, and they drove south because I was away from the fire. And I didn't know what was right, because it's still in California. I was suggesting that they stay where they were because they were in a safe place, and I don't know how the roads are, but they did, and it was smart to get away from it. But they went through their house and they got all the stuff that they really loved and they put it in the car and they drove down south. And I FaceTimed them that night to see how they were doing. And they had talked about the emotional part about going through the house and grabbing the stuff that they loved. And by the way, I think our apartments are going to be completely fine because of just where we're located. But they went through that experience. And also, I don't own anything really. Like this is probably the nicest thing I have now. And I just got it from Best Buy, which is the story for later. So I'm FaceTiming my son, and what great technology. I have my phone, I got a laptop, and I'm out. Whatever happens, right? So I'm FaceTiming them, and they're telling me about how they went through and they found all the stuff that they love and how they went through it and just knew. Is this audio right? It is right. This is just the first episode with this audio, so please excuse. Anyway, they talked about how emotional it was or whatever. And then Jack, my son, he's 6. He was like, he looked at me. Well, he was FaceTiming, so he was looking at me the whole time. He's like, Dad, did you save stuff from our house before you left that was important to you and me? Because he knew he didn't get to do that at my house. And I looked at him while we were FaceTiming, so I looked at him the whole time. And I was like, hey, buddy, you're the only thing that's important to me. And I knew you were already safe. And he didn't really realize it. And then his mom was like, no, because you're the most important thing, Jack. That's why. And then Jack looks at me. Well, we were FaceTiming, so he was looking at me the whole time. And he was like, no, I mean toys. So he wanted me to take some of his toys. Granted, this is like a couple weeks after Christmas, where I just hauled toys across the country multiple times. I did have room in my suitcase. I realized if I really did have my stuff together, and if I really thought that it was an issue, we're surrounded by pavement, I would have grabbed like my baseball glove because those, you get a good baseball glove, right? And then maybe like one of his stuffed animals from the beginning, which I think she has all those. So I don't know. I don't know what I else would have grabbed. Like his good toys are kind of big. The Wii I don't know. We my parents have a Wii. Like I don't know. I feel it's weird when you like. I think everything's gonna be fine. I've said that a lot. For me, I know that a lot of people aren't already. Of course, we all read the news. We probably have seen it. Who's reading? How do you say? Have you seen this? It's just on the internet, right? You just see it. Like I think it's all gonna be. But and I'm sure if I was if it really was all gone, it would be like losing a person, which is kind of insulting to the people I know. But like to have your home go, it would be like a whole person. Like I've moved from places and it's felt sad. Places where I knew I was moving from, like in college, like your first dorm room you move and you look back later on. I think at the freshman one, maybe you go back and look at it and it's like, you don't belong here. And you're like, I know. But like to have one just be gone. Like Jack was, I think, 2 when I moved in there, before 2, and now he's 6. Like we spent so much, but I think that I would be sad. But now, looking at it now, if I were to lose everything, I'd be like, whew, I don't have to organize that. I don't have to go through those toys. They're all gone. They're burnt to the ground. And it's a dark way to look at. But that is like if I go back at it, I mean, it's not burnt to the ground. I'm gonna be like, oh, I gotta organize this. I gotta get rid of the toy. I have to choose which toys to get rid of. But if the fire, I'm so lucky. There's no reason to complain. I did consider going back today and yesterday, Sunday, and today, Monday, and Tuesday and Wednesday, because I knew that my son was in a safe place and that I would just have like a couple of days to just like organize and clean my apartment, which as a parent, like going to like a cool vacation spot is watching your kid independently play and you get to relax. Then like having 3 or 4 days to organize or clean your apartment is like, I don't know what that is. It's the most fun thing I could think of right now because it feels so good to have a real house. I know there's people out there that already have that. They have a clean, organized house. But I travel a lot, and we just got back from the holidays, and you have toys that are taking the place of other toys. And this is after watching Toy Stories 1 through 3 multiple times over the last 5 years. It's like, I got to get rid of you guys, Anyways, that would have been fun. But then I was like, oh, I could go back and do that. But then there's the smoke and all the possibilities. And then also, what if it did catch fire and burn up? Then you spend 3 days cleaning it, and now it's all gone anyways? What are you doing? Anyway, that's where we're at. Welcome to I Just Got My Kid to Sleep. I didn't get my kid to sleep. I believe he is asleep because his mom is very good at sleep schedules. She is like top notch. Like it's just like he's down. She falls asleep. He falls asleep. He falls asleep better when the parent goes to sleep too. I realize this is I just got my parents to sleep. That's what my parents and I. So yeah, I flew to Chicago because I'm in Iowa. I'm in Omaha, Nebraska on Friday. And Cedar Falls, Iowa, at University of Northern Iowa, or Northern Iowa University. I should know that. I think it's UNI. They're purple. On Saturday, opening for Kathleen Madigan. And then next weekend, I'll be in Michigan, in Owasso, Michigan on Friday, and Tecumseh, Michigan on Saturday, the 24th and 25th. And those are at little theaters where you can pick out your seat. I love doing shows at theaters or little theaters or any place where when you click on the tickets, you can see which tickets have been purchased and which ones are available. It just feels like such a feeling of accomplishment to know that people have bought tickets or not. Anyway, so yeah, I'm in the Midwest anyway, and I'm safe. And shout out all the love. There's a lot of great places to donate and help, and please take advantage of those as you can. the people that listen and watch. But I'm okay. I am better than okay. I have a new podcast mic with an arm, and I could be expressive with. I should be more expressive with my arms now that I have this avail. Look at this. I can move this one or this one, and you can still hear what I'm saying. Isn't that amazing? Look at this. Whew, I could lead a boxing video right here. I don't know. That's what I'm talking about. Maybe I should change the camera angle so it's just which profile, which side is better. I think this side, the less you see is better. That's how I feel. I don't know. But yeah, that's my fire story. I feel very lucky. I checked the apps. I have new apps on my phone that I can't wait to get rid of. I would say don't trust the air quality app right now until the wind settles down, because it tells me the air is just as good by the fire as it is at my house. So be safe. I don't know how to be safe. In these situations, I feel like there's zone, like my area is under a red flag warning, and I don't even play soccer. Red's red card, yellow card. Boy, Michael. Red flag warning. What's your red flag warning? Drinks too much. What? No, it's a red flag warning, which means that you shouldn't be in a relationship with your area. No. How many times am I going to make the same joke? It's a red flag warning, which means, I explained this to my dad earlier because I looked it up. A fire weather watch is when the conditions in up to 72 hours could be really good for a wildfire. Isn't it weird when, like, you know something and you explain it to someone that doesn't know it, and then they have a question, and you're like, I didn't learn answers to questions too. What do you do? I just barely learned this thing, and now you're asking me questions? Because I was like, because I was debating whether to travel back and forth, which you might have caught from all this. Because some people are just there and they're helping out, and that, like, I don't know, you always, could I help? I could definitely have helped. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I didn't want to evacuate. That's the thing. So, anyways. The watch is where you're in 72 hours, there could be conditions that are really good for a wildfire. And a red flag warning is where in 24 hours, there could be really good conditions for a wildfire. And my neighborhood is all red till Wednesday. So I was like, I don't need... Basically, they're saying you're not under evacuation or evacuation warning. This is like precancerous evacuation. That's what they say. It's good. It's good if someone lit something, it's not good for you. That's what it sounds like. So I told my dad what that meant, and he was like, "But what would burn? There's nothing to burn around you." And I'm not an arsonist, I don't look at the world and see opportunities for flames. I just know what I read, and I know that if there's fire all around and there's a flag that's red in my area, I'm not going to go there unless I have to. And I wanted to bring Jack with me. Also, I was going to do that, but that's not how it happened, and I'm sure they'll be safe. South also, and maybe next week will be a good time for him to come back to Chicago, because Chicago, not on fire. They have a soccer team called the Chicago Fire, but not on fire. They had their fire, and no fire. But yeah, I learned that my dad and my mom, we were talking a lot about it, because what else you're going to do, right? And my dad said there's a lot of information that I didn't know. That, when you grow up and you think there's a point in your life where you think your parents know nothing because of what they talk about all the time. And then, you realize, oh, no, they know something. And then now I feel like I realize, oh, that's I didn't read that, apparently the insurance companies, which, man, I don't want to be spreading. I'm not even going to get into it. No, I have to. But apparently this might not be true. This is, what do I say? This is a spoiler alert? No, it's a waiver of information. These are not my opinions or express thing, but apparently a lot of the insurance companies started denying houses fire insurance, like this summer or the year or something. And it was because they knew this, because insurance companies can predict the future. They have mathematicians that predict stuff like this. And, yeah. And then it happened. So because we got a lot of rain in the summer. So my dad was saying, who didn't ever live out west, but he knew. He said that when the things grow in the summer when they're not supposed to usually, then they die. And then there's a lot of stuff to burn. And that's why it's all burning. So, yeah. Yeah, LA strong or whatever. That's where I live. Not right now. We're in the basement, and we might be here next week. I don't know, but we got a new thing we got this. We're growing. Do you guys like this light? If you're listening, do you like the light? And you're, whoa, we can go orange. Ooh, how's orange? That's good with this shirt. I think, oh man, how do we get back to the original one? Which one was the original one? We're getting there. Okay. I think that was not it. That one's it. Okay. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, that's our thing. We're here now, and I feel very well rested. Oh my gosh. First of all, I had Wednesday in Sacramento, Thursday San Francisco. Thank you everybody for coming to that. Those were both really fun. Friday, I just had off. So I flew to Arcata, California, and my friend Anthony, who I went to college with, went to college there for graduate school. And so he was telling me all the cool stuff. And apparently in Arcata, California, there is a burger place called Star's Burger. Star Burgers? I gotta look stuff. Producer. But it is the guy who first he was like, here's how my friend told me this. Anthony's one of my oldest friends ever. We met literally like the first day of orientation in college. I was gonna say first day of college, which I think it was. And we lived in the same dorm. We played intramurals together. Very good basketball player, football player. We were scrappy teams. And he was like, first off, here's how this conversation started. We were at breakfast, which was, a good 11:45 noon. That's a good comedian breakfast. I love when I get to have breakfast at noon because I don't want to skip breakfast, but I don't want to wake up. So it was good for me so far. And I pick him up and we're driving. His girlfriend's going to meet us there or whatever. And he's like, telling me about Arcata. And he's like, do you know SpongeBob? And I was like, what do you, like, do I know, like, who does, like that seems like such a common thing to say. Who doesn't know SpongeBob? Would it be insulting to he's SpongeBob. Like there's a whole channel for SpongeBob SquarePants. He has SquarePants and he's yeah, I know. And at first I thought, and then he was like, oh, the guy that was SpongeBob. I forget how he said it, but he was like, the guy that was SpongeBob, was like worked at this burger place or whatever, and it's inspired the Krusty Krab. And I was like, oh, Tom Kenny, like the voice of SpongeBob, because I feel like when they say it, like, no, the guy that made SpongeBob. And I was like, oh, okay, I don't know that guy. But apparently there's a burger place that he worked at when he was in college, and then when he went to go make SpongeBob, he was like, oh, he's gonna do burgers like I did, and he's gonna work in this place like I did. So I went to go eat there, and I don't know, I used to get really close to the camera, but I can't do that because the sound goes away. Maybe I can start moving the camera closer when I really get. I had to take my phone out of its very durable case, out of box, because this camera isn't wide enough. This is interesting, but maybe I'll do that later on a future episode. But I didn't know if it's because he told me that this restaurant inspired SpongeBob. But like I landed in Arcata and I got my stuff at the hotel, and I was like, I was gonna go like some other place, and then I saw it when I was driving. I was like, oh, that's the place. So I pulled over and I walked in, and I was like, oh, this is the way it was lit. There's like one light over one table, and then like some other tables that weren't well lit. And so I sat at the lit table because I felt like it kind of made me feel like I was on a TV show, but I wasn't animated. I can't explain it. But I watched the Ohio State game on my phone, and I had a burger and a milkshake, and I looked around. I was like, "Oh, this is SpongeBob." I felt like I was in. It was like better than going to like Disneyland or Universal and being in one of their places that they make look like something, because this is like the place that inspired it. There's so many seasons of animated comedy, and the guys working there were so cool. Like, they didn't act like it was a big deal to them at all. But if I was working at the place where SpongeBob was inspired, I'd just be like, oh, what an honor. But they were like super chill. So that was that story. But yeah, Arcata. I didn't realize they have, my friend also told me, they have a place where you can sit in hot tubs like in the woods or saunas, and you can just rent them by the half hour. And so he's like, you got to do that. You get to be outside and have your own private hot tub and look up at the stars, which I like a private. Well, at first, here's the thing. I thought a private hot tub would be good because it's private, you know? And whenever you're in a hot tub, like there was a hot tub at the hotel I was staying at, and there was like a couple in the hot tub, and it was like public. It wasn't gross or anything, but like it was like there wasn't, if I sit in there, we're going to be too close, you know? So like, oh, I want a hot tub by myself. But then I started thinking like, if everyone gets a hot tub by themselves, like I know the standards I hold myself to when I'm in a place by myself with that other people might use later. Like I'm not going to make it grow, you know, I'm a clean person, right? But who knows, like how often do they clean? Anyway, but they were booked, so I didn't get to do that. And then, but I did get to go on Saturday. I went to a different place to eat, and it was called Humboldt Pie Company, I think. I'm bad at promoting stuff for people, but it was delicious. They had regular pie, which I had this raspberry lemon. It was like, here, let me tell you this, which I don't think I've ever talked about this. This is a new fact. How's the mic pick up the music for the day? New fact. I don't like lemon. So I'll drink lemonade, but like lemon, just lemon, like it's like lemon as a dessert. I've never, but this pie had lemon and then like this raspberry filling, and raspberry as a filling, get out of here. So, and then this like cream cheese icing. And that was just dessert. And before that, I had these little tiny like pies for dinner. And it was like a corn pie with vegetables in it. And then like a pork pie with stuff in it. And I was just like, that was really good. And shout out to Humboldt Pie Company for being open. Everything was supposed to be closed that late, really, most of it. They're really good. Everyone was very nice. And I did my show at the Arcata Theater Lounge. And the people were very nice, and then I got to come home to Chicago, and the whole story was I've been sleeping. Here's a tip on sleeping, okay? That was almost a Nickelodeon jingle. I don't have rights to that. But if you're trying to get a lot of sleep, right? And you haven't been getting a lot of sleep as a parent, but you're like, oh, I get to sleep a lot tonight. Here's what I do. I don't go to bed early because I feel like when I go to bed early, I wake up early, and my body's just like, what are we doing here? You know? Because my body, my brain's like, what are we doing here? Not my body. Let me clarify this. So, my body is just like up after 5 or 6 hours or 4, because it's just like, oh, we're up now, and that was a good nap, and my brain's just like, no, we don't have to be up. My body's like, no, what are we doing? Breakfast is free at the hotel. Breakfast free at a hotel will get me up any second. Waffles I can make for myself. Get out of here, you know? I wonder what my thing would be if I had an animated cartoon. Like, what would be like? I worked at a graveyard, but that would be kind of, I don't know, could you do a kid's cartoon at a cemetery, and then people would drive by and be like, oh, that's where Michael worked. Anyway, it's just like your body's like, no, we're up. That was a nap, right? Because you go to bed early. I would go to bed early on the road, and my body's just like, oh, that was a good nap, you know? And I would be up, and I would be so angry because now I'm tired on top of the tired I was before the nap, which I don't understand. Like I've been told, listen to your body, go to sleep. But I've found if you really need sleep, if you really want to get a lot of sleep and you have the time to do it, like say you're a comedian on the road or another job on the road, or you have a spouse that'll let you go away for a little while and you have kids and you're really tired. And I think it only works if you have kids or maybe a job because it's like you really got to be really tired, you know? You don't go to sleep. I don't go to sleep early. What I do is I've found the best thing for me is I stay up later. Not the normal, but just like keep it up. Maybe go to bed like a little, like an hour, but like stay up late. Just keep it up. Enjoy that time. Find a hobby, watch some show, like do that thing, and then go to sleep super tired, and then just sleep, and just know going to sleep that you might start to wake up, but that you can stay asleep just by telling yourself that you're staying asleep, and it'll work. You'll sleep. I've slept till 4 p.m. before, just like because you'll wake up a little bit. You're like, no, I don't have to. I'm asleep. You don't say I don't have to wake up. It's like I'm sleeping. I'm sleeping. You'll be surprised at how many times you can go back to sleep when your body's just like, what are we doing here? You can really sleep. And I'm not even saying like fully wake up, go to the bathroom. I'm just saying like you lay there, you start to wake up. You're like, no, I'm still asleep. I'm still asleep. And your body will listen if it's like mine. And then what you do is you sleep like 10 or 12 hours, right? You get that 10 or 12 hour sleep in. And then the next day, it's kind of a bummer because then you're not tired at the normal time and you might not be able to sleep in. But like for that one day, it's nice. I'm not a sleep doctor, but that's nice. But yeah, let's see what we got. Let's start the show. Trampoline park. I went to a trampoline park and I got hurt. If you haven't been to a trampoline park, I didn't get really hurt, but I went with Jack. This is over the holidays. I was going to talk about this before, but we didn't get to it. And I love taking Jack to a trampoline park because I would have enjoyed that when I was a kid. And also, I get to go because I'm supervising. I'll even pay if I have to. And this trampoline park had like an obstacle course, and the first day we were there, we did it one day over the holidays, and I did all the obstacles pretty much fine. And then the second time I went, a week and a half later, after a week and a half of like really kind of being tired, I like fell off the balance beam and like scraped my leg and my arm. And I was like, is this how I go out? Not out like die, but like, am I going to be like affected by this for multiple days? Michael, what happened to your arm? Trampoline park. Yeah, I know. I was okay. I realized that my reaction to injuries, like I'll push through, but usually I like it's the worst case scenario, but I was okay. Glad we did that. Check it off the list. Jack loves unicorns. We went to the zoo. I don't know if I talked about this last week. We went to the zoo during, for the lights. No, I did. Everyone wants a unicorn. I don't know why I didn't write that off. They shouldn't have unicorns in the carousel because everyone's going to want the unicorn. It's not a real animal. They're going to believe it can fly, and it's just sad. I played Mario. I got my younger brother and my parents for Christmas this year. They got me Super Mario Brothers for the original Nintendo, and I have an original Nintendo. They got it for me for my birthday. I think, like I've always, my younger brother has ours. So it is kind of like the fact that I got one for my birthday is almost them being like, don't ask for this one. I do want, I feel like, Jack likes video games, and it's reminded me of all the video games that I, didn't, ever, finish, like really take on, and because I was a kid and couldn't do it, wasn't good enough, but then I'm an adult and I'm like, it's not over, the game's not over, like I never got to beat Mario Brothers. And this goes back to the thing about I don't need to give Jack everything he wants, because when I was a kid we got Nintendo for Christmas one year and it was the happiest Christmas ever, but Mario Brothers didn't come with it. Santa didn't do that. We got RBI Baseball, which is a super fun game looking back, and I would like to have it again at some day, if my brother ever, shares. But he's very good at sharing. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, I never beat Mario Brothers, I never got to play really. And I just had never beaten it. And then like, I think we got it with like one of the all-star things, and I never beat it then. And so I was like, I think I want to try to beat Mario Brothers. And so I got it for Christmas. And it's so much fun to play on the original Nintendo with the original controller. And Jack wanted to play it because he's like, oh, this is a video game, we're going to play it. And it was so fun to play it because I'm so much better than he, like I don't know if you remember, on the original Nintendo, if you're under whatever, I don't know, 35, you probably never don't even know what I'm talking about. But then the original Nintendo, there was Mario and Luigi, 2 players of Mario and Luigi. The first player goes until they die, and then the second player goes. So if the first player doesn't die, it's just you're just waiting. And Jack would go and he would die, then I get to play a lot, and then he would die and I get to play a lot. And video games back then were way less forgiving, way less like you play Mario Galaxy or whatever. There's a lot of extra lives, which I like. It's fun. But in Mario, I don't know. I just think it's nice to see kids fail. And I realized that because I was not given that video game as a kid, now I enjoy it as an adult. So I need to sort of keep that in mind. Like if my son makes a good case for a thing, I can just be like strong, knowing that the more that I say no, the more joy it'll bring him later. Which I'm sure if you're listening to your parent, you're like, yeah, you're stupid. Why? I think it's just, he's my only guy, and I like a lot of stuff he likes. I love watching shows with Jack, but I fall asleep during all of them. And I don't think it's the writing. I think they're good shows. I just think that we'll watch them at night, right? And it's a good break, right? Like when I was out of town, my dad was telling me that I left to drive to Grand Rapids, Michigan the week after Christmas for 2 days to do shows. And I left at 1:30. And my dad was like, we were playing board games from 1:30 until 6:30 when dinner was about to be ready at 6 or whatever. He was like, I looked at Jack. I don't know why I have to tell every story with the person saying they looked at the person. I just think it's a good visual, Who's still listening? Everybody, this is so good. I think the microphone is what's really making it. Is it still? Yeah, I think so. He looked at my son and he was like, hey, do you want to watch TV? And Jack looked at me, he's like, why? Because he was just like, we're playing games, And my dad was, you can't tell a kid, I need a break. Maybe you can. But anyway, Jack will watch TV and I'll fall asleep every episode, unless it's a long, multiple parter, on Paramount Plus, they have these 6-part Paw Patrol. So I'm like, watch one part. So then I got to kind of time it so I wake up in time so he's not up for all 6 parts. Otherwise, what are we doing? Who's the dad here, But it was so we were trying to pick out what to watch, and he was like, I want to watch this Paw Patrol show. And I was like, have you seen it? And he was like, no. Have you? which I love it that he thinks that his shows are just the shows. Like when I'm on the road and I turn on the TV, I'm just watching Paw Patrol and Mickey Mouse Funhouse, not Clubhouse, because that's what's on everywhere. Dad, have you seen this one without me? I really like being reminded of his way of seeing the world, because it's so fun. It's a very innocent, all-encompassing. The world revolves around me, but I still care about a lot of other people. Kids are very sensitive. We went fishing with my dad this summer. My dad was really excited. I don't know about excited, but he bought some fishing poles, some sticks, which if you're fishing with young children, 5, 4, we thought it would be easier with sticks. But I think a pole is actually easier because you can really get it out there and there can be some more action, So that's just a heads up on that. Heads up! That's that segment's song. And we had to catch worms, and Jack likes catching worms, but then we had to put the worms on the thing, and then he found out that the fish eat the worms, and multiple times he's been like, Dad, if we go fishing again, can we not fish with real worms? And I was like, yeah, which I don't know if that's possible. I think it is. I think you can put fake stuff on there, but he's like, yeah, because what about the worms, Mommy and Daddy? And I'm just like, oh gosh, because he's right. What about the worms, Mommy and Daddy? Also, what about the worm in that point? Getting eaten by the fish. Man, I feel like I'm too sensitive about stuff, and then this kid comes along and makes really good points. I think that's my biggest flaw as a parent, is that he says something, and I'm like, that's a good point. These are good ideas. I took improv. Yes, and who knows? But yeah, they're in Orange County. I'm going to keep everybody updated on the episode next week, part 2 of living in flames, or away from flames. But I think we're going to be okay. And I hope we can do the best to help all the people that aren't okay. And I think I should just go through my stuff rather than wish it to be burned all encompassingly. I got that from my parents. I can blame them for that. Because I remember one time they were talking about flooding, and we were just talking about how easy it would be to go through stuff if it all flooded, which I don't wish on anybody. But, yeah. I'll be in the places I said, Omaha and Cedar Falls. Omaha? Who can say Omaha without saying it like Peyton Manning now? You know, it's been years. Omaha, maybe it's just me. And then Owasso, Michigan, and Tecumseh. I don't know if I said those right. Which, shout out to all the comedians that knew how to say my name. It was really, really positive experience when that happens. And then I'll be in La Jolla, California at the Comedy Store. So I'll definitely be back in California by then. And yeah, I still got a couple more minutes here. I appreciate you tuning in. Even though it's not optimal, let's see how this guy is doing. Is this nice to talk about? So this guy, I'm doing the same joke I gotta do push-ups so I can meet somebody. I met someone! Now we're still doing push-ups. Isn't that what life is like, you know? You do something so you can find somebody, and then I don't think that's really what life is like. I think, from what I've seen, you do the thing, you meet the person. Don't these people know? You don't have to push up anymore. You found the person. Maybe they just love it, you know? This is how good these bars are. You can meet the love of your life who looks off in the distance the same way you do. Well, she kind of stares forward a little bit. And still want to push up. I like a good push up. Pushing up. What else we got over here in the bookcase? This is, that's German architecture. Someone went to Germany and gave that to us. And it's all in German. And, yeah. This is what Reading Rainbow would be like if it was a very specific bookcase they had to pull from. What's this one? This is called How Come? Now You Can Know It All. Attention parents, can you say why the sky is blue? This is a good book. How do snowflakes form? Why does Jupiter have a red spot? Wow, I got a lot of reading, everybody. Check out the new special. It's not new anymore, but the special is it's on YouTube. And if you've watched already, thank you. And if you've been to a show, thank you. If you're listening to this because you went to a show, I appreciate it. And every week, just know it's this, but different things I'm saying. And just know if this is the stand-up, will still be the thing you liked. Anyway, I appreciate all of you. Stay safe. That's all. Oh, I watched Bad Monkey with my parents a couple episodes, and it's a good one for parents. I feel like they should rate. They always rate things for parents, for kids, but I think they should rate shows and movies for kids, grown-up kids, or even like teenager kids who want to watch it with their parents, you know? Which is like, no, not a lot of sex and nudity, please. We can take some language, some violence, but no nudity. No, just take all those scenes. I don't need the people that made to see. But so far, none of that, really. So, yeah, that's my idea. Rate the movies and shows for like young people watching with their parents. So we know what. Because like I looked it up, it was like, oh, a 15-year-old can watch that. Yeah, but 15-year-olds can watch some stuff. Anyway, that was today. Again, all the love to everybody who's working hard, keeping everyone safe. I love you. Thank you. The end.